it because I really have no other choice. What I want to show you is that I'm going to leave some information up here. I think it's out on this table, so if you're interested in seeing it a little deeper in what I'm going to talk about, it is here and you can take it home with you. About myself, just quickly. I confess this, I was born in California, but I was raised in New Hampshire. Kensington, New Hampshire, I was there in the 5th grade. My family moved back here. We loved New Hampshire. My wife and I have moved back to New Hampshire about 12 years ago because we love it. But from Kensington, Exeter High School, U.S. Naval Academy, 6 years in the service. The war was kind of winding down then. I got out, worked for Security Pacific Bank, and then was going to USC Business School. Went there full-time for a year, and then 2 years later I graduated as I was working full-time as well. The rest of my working life has been in Wall Street-oriented organizations. Trading desk. I trade my own account on the Board of Trade in Chicago. And I've actually, before we moved back here we lived in San Francisco, I worked for Bank of America and their defeasance programs. So we chose to come back to New Hampshire. We love New Hampshire. We believe in the New Hampshire advantage. The reason I'm running for this position is because I think that there's a couple that I have key phrases or key items that I want to talk about. I'll just tell you very, very quickly. I think we can do better on the state budget. I mean, my concern is that there's long-term liabilities that keep growing faster than we can pay for them with short-term money. So I think that's one key thing. Another thing is public education. We can do better than that. We did that in the charter school. We've seen how to do that. It's not a question of throwing more money at it. We can also, 15. The other thing is as being a veteran, my son was actually in Iraq 4 times. He's a graduate of the Naval Academy. He was over there, and we witnessed the anguish of a parent with their kid in severe danger. He was okay, although there was a report that he had been killed in the newspapers, and actually in U.S. World Report, and people from all over the country were calling us, and we had to go through that. So another thing is I want to be involved in doing whatever we can to get more help and support for our veterans. I talked to the community college, and we can do this with excess capacity in the state. Thank you very much.
Bill, why don't you stay right up here, and we'll have Niel Young, who's the surrogate for Josh Youssef.
Josh has about 3 pages here, and I think we're going to have to come through them. But I was chosen to speak for Josh Youssef because I suggested Senator Forsythe. It turns out Senator Forsythe couldn't be here either, so it came down to me. But this is great. I finally get to speak as a Senate candidate, and I don't have to worry about winning or losing. Is this better? I got somebody out there going, they want to hear me. Okay, I usually speak loud enough. By the way, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but because the rules say here, Reagan's 11th commandment, it's the only thing he ever did that I didn't agree with. You must point out the differences between you and your opponent. How in the heck do we know what you stand for if you don't? I will be kind to Mr. Grimm because I think he's been on my program once by phone, and he seems like a real nice guy, but I need somebody. We need somebody in government from the top of the land with Obama out all the way down to our state reps here in New Hampshire, our county commissioners. You, by the way, vote Republican, right? Don't put Ed Philpott back in there again. Moving right along, as I said. Josh, I asked Josh in the early going, before I decided I'd be on his team, there's certain, I'm awful because I demand that my candidate agree with me. And I have about 5, oh yes, you don't get away from me. I'm pro-life. Josh Youssef is pro-life. I'm anti-sales and income tax. He's anti-sales and income tax. I'm for the right to work. He's for the right to work. Woo. All right? He's a Second Amendment guy. I'm a Second Amendment guy. But is that a 15? That's not a bad rating. So all I can say is that Josh couldn't be here, and for good reason. He's with his son. I believe it's a birthday or something, but I appreciate you listening to me, and that's a happy face. He believes in the 11th commandment. There we go. I like the Constitution, but on that one.
You can take a few more seconds if you like. Bill did too. So
Really?
I'll give you another.
See, I didn't even notice.
I'll give you another half a minute.
A half a minute? I don't know what I can say.
Keep going, Neil. You're
I'm
on a roll.
going as fast as I can. So let's see here. What do we got? I have a great windup. By the way, Josh has put in here, so it's no surprise. He wanted me to ask you, Mr. Grimm, if you and Josh and one of your people from your campaign would like to join us on the radio, which is my program, where you will be treated fairly, to do an hour debate. We'll see is his answer. Okay, at least we've laid it out there. I'll leave you with this from the, has not much to do with politics, but I think it's worthy of being said. My 15-year-old granddaughter from New Jersey was sitting at the bar of the house the other day. No, she wasn't drinking. We're not going to start that at 15. But on the back of her T-shirt it said, I had to move her long hair to find out what it said, but anyway, it says, some people dream of success, others stay awake and achieve it. That's what we need to do. Stay awake.
All right, thank you, Neil. No, no need to do that. I wouldn't want to stress you. You can stay up here because we do have one question for both of you. Bill, you'll be answering it first, and it's again the same question: Northern Pass, yes or no?
I have actually looked at the Northern Pass. I'm in the process of doing that. I'll tell you what I see so far. My understanding is, and because these are some of the questions I asked, my current understanding is that the cost of energy will actually affect all New Hampshire residents. Not in the same. I come from Franklin, so you understand where I'm coming from. It's a tremendous boon to Franklin. My understanding is that it provides energy that is a cheaper cost, and it is certainly clean energy. So I think we need to look at this closely. I went and talked to the Northern Pass people because I want to find out what the deal really was. And I said, look, it would be, is this better for all New Hampshire residents? They say that it's yes, it's measurably better, but it's not a huge thing. So until I see that, I mean, that's what I'm thinking, that's what I'm looking at. But I would be for it if the eminent domain was another thing that I was really happy to see that they did not use that. But I think that can be, I understand.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Neil?
Okay, this is great because all my family, I'm the only one born in Laconia, all my ancestors are, or my predecessors, I should say, descendants, whatever, were born in Lancaster, New Hampshire. And I have family living up there now. They're opposed to it. But Josh Youssef is going to represent District 7, which now includes Laconia and Franklin. I never thought I'd see that happen. Whatever. Here we are. Talking with Josh, it is my feeling and it's my position, and I'd like him to vote this way. First of all, I don't trust public service. I'm afraid of an eminent domain, that they will pull and play their little games, and therefore I will suggest, and I believe I'm right in doing so, that Josh Youssef will be with the folks who say no Northern Pass. By the way, in Franklin, the jobs are only going to last 2 to 3 years. So you're going to screw the rest of us for 2 years to make them look good in Franklin? Too many politicians in Franklin. But anyway, that's where I'm at. If my time is up, I'll stop.
Thank you, Neil. We actually have a second question here. Are there any other questions for these two candidates before I read this one? Because this will be the last question. I'm not normally going to do a second question, but I didn't give an opportunity for a second question to come in. The question again here is, will or have you pledged to actively oppose any income or sales tax? If not, why not?
I have actually done that, but I put on the account, or on the sheet of paper, 2 years maximum. As a new person coming into the Senate, I think it's actually, it makes no sense until I know what some of the facts are to do that. I will tell you that my concern is I am a low-tax conservative fiscally conservative Republican. This is a bit of a canard, I think, as I talked a little bit about. I'll talk about it more now. What needs to be done with the state budget? We are putting pressure on, and you know how much the House had to work to get the budget passed this year. They did a tremendous effort to get some cuts. I mean, it wasn't necessarily pretty, but it needs to be done, it seems to me. I guess I have to see it further, but the real issue with the budget is the pressure being put on the spending side of it, and these tax caps and different kinds of things. They're not they're well intentioned. They're just not as effective as they used to be because we're going around it. They're not. It's not taxes. It's just fees and costs and different things that are downloaded or pushed down to the municipalities and the individual homeowners. So it's a tough deal.
Thank you, Bill. Neil?
Okay, because I'm not Josh Youssef, I'll try to behave myself, but I can't, my candidate, Josh Youssef, says he's signed, he's pledged everything. He's against the sales or income tax. He will remain so, because he and I believe that if you give government more money, they'll spend more. It's not a great idea. But I want to say something about Franklin and the tax cap. Laconia copied their tax cap. So to win Franklin is kind of hard to go in there and say, now you mentioned tax caps. Why not? We all live within a certain cap. So right away, my candidate Josh Youssef says no. So there should be no question about it. He won't do it. So I don't want to say anything else and speak ill of fellow Republicans. But I didn't like the answer, okay? And Franklin, I don't think they're going to like the answer either, because a tax cap should not be temporary. It's the rules of the House, and we make the rules. Thank you, sir. Woo! By the way, I'm going to steal this. Alan Glassman, I'm really, and Frank, nothing against you, of course, my friend, but Alan Glassman's been busting his rear end during his term, and I can see you're nodding yes. And I can't thank him enough for getting Pam Bondi as my guest on the radio. And no matter what happens in this upcoming election, of course we want Romney to win, I think there's a place for Pam Bondi in the White House.
All right, 1 minute each, that's it.
Neil, I think you're missing the big picture here. It's a very simplistic approach that you're taking on the tax. Obviously, we want to keep taxes low and we want to keep the overall cost of government low. But the only way to do that is to look at the spending side. You can put your tax caps up there and you can say you're going to do this and whatnot. You're not controlling anything. You have to go back upstream. You have to see these long-term commitments that we're enabling, or we're not enabling, but we're actually having these things respond. Our kids are responsible for paying for this stuff. And I'm going to be a watchdog, and I'm going to look very closely at that, and I'm going to talk loudly about that. We need to find out about it.
Neil, 1 minute.
First of all, I don't know what we've got to find out about it. It's either a tax cap or it's not a tax cap. In Laconia, we allow them, the council, the city council, they know the rules. It's in our city charter. You can take the GDP, or what, consumer CPI, sorry, Consumer Price Index, and that's where you start. If it's 2.5, then that's all you increase your spending by, okay? But at the same time, in Laconia and Franklin, we allow you to anticipate revenue from buildings that are already permits given out for the coming year. By the way, I don't even like that. I think it's too liberal. But anyway, that's the way it is. Caps are caps for a reason. And the people voted for them. And I think it's wonderful. I've got 15 seconds. I already said some good things about our chairman. And I wanted to say it again. Alan Glassman, as Frank did, and those before him, are doing a great job with the party. I'd be happy to show up anytime, but please don't make me use the 11th commandment.
All right, okay. Neil, Bill, thank you very much. Okay, moving right along. Now we move into this